Hello, this is my informational speech. We have Ayrton, Dad, Mom, Abriel, and Avery. Weight can come in many forms, from pounds to ounces. But all these forms have one thing in common. They are all being pulled down by gravity, which makes them a form of resistance. Hello, my name is Alexander Gray, and I'm here to teach you about accommodating resistance and its effect in weight training. But before we can talk about accommodating resistance, we must know what weight is and what determines it. Gravity is the number one factor in determining weight. Even though gravity is one of the weakest of the four fundamental forces, stated by Dr. Baird, who is an assistant professor at A&M University. But why is this important for weightlifting? Gravity is what allows a number on the weight to be what it is. As stated by NASA, Earth's gravity comes from all its mass, and all its mass makes a combined gravitational pull on all mass in your body. That what gives you your weight. And if you were on a different planet, you will have a less weight. This is what causes a 45-pound plate to be not the same as a 5-pound plate. However, accommodating resistance allows for a lifter to modify but not change this. Now that we know what weight is, we can talk about accommodating resistance. What is accommodating resistance? The two major forms, or the two most commonly used forms of accommodating resistance, and lastly, how they're being used today. What is accommodating resistance? Let's begin. Accommodating resistance is a way to make a lift harder throughout its range of motion. The range of motion being the distance to complete an exercise. In most exercises, the most difficult part is the bottom portion of the exercise. By adding accommodating resistance to the lift, the bottom portion of the lift is no longer the hardest, and the exercise remains difficult throughout the range of motion. Louis Simmons, a world-renowned powerlifter, stated that the combines of band tension and bar weight allows maximum tension throughout the entire range of motion, not just the weakest point, which is the bottom portion. Now, what are these forms of resistance? The first form is, let me give an example, it's like bands. You see, it provides, first of all, bands can provide a consistent form of resistance. As you go up, the band lengthens, which adds weight to the bar, which is calculated. This band adds 35 pounds fully length and 15 pounds semi-length. So as you go up, it is not from this part, you have to set it up a certain way, but like this, as you can see, the band is going up. Which another benefit of the bands is provides a thing called the overspeed eccentric, which the overspeed eccentric is basically just means pulling down. The band is so the lifter has to fight against the band. It has to fight against the band while it's being pulled down. You see, the band is pulling my hand down like that. So a lifter, so imagine that on your back or on the weight. You have to fight against that and gravity. So it's a way to add, even just to change up the lift. Put this down. And the next form of resistance, I'm just is a chain. Put this to you. Well, chain is pretty unique because you see it's just a common household item. Somebody have this around their fence or something like that. But as a chain, as you go down on the chain, it deloads the weight. So you will put these like on the side of your barbell, and you'll have, so when you put this down on the ground, the weight is actually lessening because it's stacking on the ground. But as you go up, you see the chain starts to lengthen a little bit. So you see the links in the chain are being pulled up, which causes the weight to get added back on the bar. And this is cool because it doesn't have the same benefit of the bands because it's no longer pulling down. So it makes it, but one thing it doesn't have like the bands do, is not as consistent. As you can see, the bands tend to have a mind of their own. They could come up any way they want to. Not how fast, no. They just go with how they want. So it's just they use it for different times when it's needed. So I'm gonna give you some explanations on it. So start here. Chains also reloads a weight on the bar. This is because a chain has links, so it will provide a linear, it will provide a non-linear approach, and not a consistent tension like the bands. Now, knowing the building blocks of this form of resistance, how are these items being used today? At one point in time, this form of training was considered very unpopular, but now this knowledge is more well known. Many powerlifters have used these methods to break records. It's also been used to prevent injuries and to rehabilitate patients who've suffered in accidents, car accidents, stuff like that, and to nurse a person back to normal function. It also allows for strength athletes and regular athletes to gain more strength. In my conclusion, to conclude this, I have discussed one of the many methods used to overcome weight plateaus and barriers. Accommodating resistance is not the only way for a lifter to lift more weight, but the information that has been given is just to know how these items work and how it will be done, or how a person will use it in their own training. When weight is being lifted, every ounce and every pound matters.